All right, so is that going to be it? Yeah, that's it. All right. Hold on, let me get my notes up. And today I'm going to be talking to you about the neuroscience of art. Neuroaesthetics received its formal definition in 2002 as a scientific study of the neural basis for the contemplation and creation of a work of art. The definition has since evolved to the cognitive neuroscience of aesthetic experience. The International Arts Plus Mind Lab is currently working to formalize the field of applied neuroaesthetics, which is the scientific study of how the brain responds to the arts and aesthetic experiences for the purpose of improving biological, psychological, social, cultural, or spiritual outcomes for individuals or populations. Neuroarts is a complementary term, and I'm going to skip what I was going to say there. Neuroarts is defined as the transdisciplinary study of how the arts and aesthetic experiences measurably change the body.
Brief intermission. Can we switch mics?
Yeah, of course. I was wondering if I was kind of quiet.
Thank you.
Inside or outside? I don't know.
Yeah, it goes that the larger part goes on the inside. Yep.
Sorry. I can do this. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sweet.
That's cool. Neuroaesthetics is defined as the transdisciplinary study of how the arts and aesthetic experiences measurably change the body, brain, and behavior, and how this knowledge is translated into specific practices that advance health and well-being. So I borrowed this book called Your Brain on Art from the Chattahoochee Valley Library. And I think the potential for this research could be culturally as well as personally transformative. First, I'll introduce you to the authors. Ivy Ross is the Vice President of Hardware Design at Google and was recently named by Business Insider as one of the 15 most powerful women at Google. In 2019, she was voted number 9 of the 100 most creative people in business by Fast Company. She has a background in wide-ranging fields, including sound therapy, quantum physics, psychology, and play. Ivy has been a contributing author to numerous books. Her innovative metalwork in jewelry is in the permanent collections of 12 international museums, including the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C., the Victoria and Albert Museum in London, and the Cooper Hewitt Museum in New York City. Her full resume is astounding. Susan Maximin is the founder and executive director of the International Arts Plus Mind Lab Center for Applied Neuroaesthetics, which is part of the Peterson Brain Science Institute of the Johns Hopkins University School of Medicine, where she is a faculty member in the Department of Neurology. She is a member of the Society for Neuroscience, American Psychological Association, the National Organization for Arts and Health, and the Alliance for the Arts in Research University. She is also Royal Society of the Arts Fellow. Her resume continues to abound with more impressive qualifications. So they're qualified. The authors use the word art so broadly that it can be interchanged with beauty. This is a graph showing many different kinds of things that they consider the arts. And that includes things like the theater, dance, music, visual arts, digital arts, architecture, books, gardening, humming in the shower, even TV and movies. But they do say that the nature is the highest form of art. Being in nature is ultimately where we all come from. There are many great studies that prove just 15 minutes of nature lowers cortisol, the stress hormone, helps to reach homeostasis, which is like internal balance, and helps clear away the ruminating thoughts and so that you can have much more clarity and insight. Together they believe that we're standing on the verge of a cultural shift in which the arts can deliver potent, accessible, proven health and well-being solutions to billions of peoples. Art, or beauty, can help us get better at learning, regulating our emotions, and exercising empathy. It can help treat disease and relieve stress. That would be nice right now. In this study, it's a balance of beholding and making art, and you don't even have to be good at it. The end result of your creation isn't the benefit. The benefit comes from the time spent participating in the arts. In the role of beholder, there are a couple of things that are different from being a maker. As a beholder, we have the ability to take on someone else's point of view. We can explore without risk different types of emotional ranges or different ideas and thoughts from a storyteller who's sharing information in whatever form of art they choose. We also have the ability to empathize with and understand something through our own lens. As a maker, no one can tell you what to make. It's an act of freedom and of self-expression and individuality. This is an opportunity for introspection and also to share yourself with the world in exactly the way you want to. Good or bad is not part of the conversation here. On June 1st, 1981, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood aired an episode called Competition. In the episode, Mr. Rogers draws a house with crayons. So I'll go ahead and read the slides for you because it's pretty hard to see. He says, "Do you like to draw with crayons? I'm not very good at it, but it doesn't matter. It's the fun of doing it that's important. Now, I wouldn't have made that if I'd just thought about it. No matter how anybody says it is, it feels good to have made something. The best thing is that each person's would be different." You know, if Mr. Rogers says it, it's true. This is an image of a Colombian cave rock painting that represents the experiences of daily life. And at this time, they actually didn't have a word for art because it's just how they lived. And it's what they did. And it's the everyday moments are depicted for us. E.O. Wilson, the Harvard evolutionary biologist, revealed the fact that we share an interesting phenomena called eusocial. That's EU social, with termites, ants, and bees. Eusociality means good sociality, which does go back to our sixth principle of having the goal of world community. Building quality relationships is the foundation of our own happiness. The arts, the beauty and joy that is surrounding us is more powerfully experienced when we experience it together. In an evolutionary way, we are highly social beings, even if it doesn't always seem like it. Our tendency to choose to work together means that from the very beginning of humanity, we had to find ways to creatively express ourselves through dancing, singing, storytelling, circling around the fire. Art making was essential to the development of our species biologically. Neuroanatomist Julie Bolt Taylor says that most of us think of ourselves as thinking creatures that feel, but we're actually feeling creatures that think. Research is proving that we are literally wired for art, and these experiences alter a complex psychological network of interconnected systems, both neurological and biological. The arts literally engage every system in your body, and the implications for this are profound. How these systems connect and change happens through a process called neuroplasticity. Each of us are born with 100 billion neurons that connect at a synaptic level. These neurons are there for you to create neural pathways that become how you think, how you feel, how you move, how you collaborate and communicate, all the things humans do. The arts and aesthetics are some of the most important experiences which enter your body, creating very strong neural pathways. They have unlimited capacity to change and enhance your cognition, emotions, perspective, mood, decision-making, and so much more. Just think about the way hearing music from your youth affects you today. the neural pathways that are created through strong aesthetic experiences like nature and other forms of art or beauty lay the groundwork for using this research to improve physical health, mental health, learning, flourishing, building community, and all of the things that help us to be the most human and powerful selves. Our ancestors did this centuries ago, and as a society, we have been optimizing for productivity since the Industrial Revolution, pushing the arts aside because we were told either we were not good enough or questioned the relevance to our careers. Thinking that the focus mostly on productivity and efficiency would make us both successful and happy, but we all know that's not true. As a society, we've left the arts on the sidelines, thinking of it as a luxury that we come back to if we had time. But it's actually the essence of making us whole and healthy. Okay, do you remember the food pyramid or the My Plate campaign more recently that shows us what a healthy, balanced diet is? This is sort of the healthy diet for constituting arts. There are 6 elements to intentionally cultivating an aesthetic mind. 1 is cultivating curiosity or beginner's mind. Curiosity is often defined as the gap between what we know and what we want to know. It's the inherent desire to comprehend the world around us and serves as a powerful motivator for learning throughout our lives. 2 is embracing novelty or playful exploration. Unexpected and new experiences stimulate our brains like nothing else. By challenging our expectations, novelty grabs the attention of our brains. It can manifest in many ways, like seeing a painting for the first time, learning a new word. It could be pleasant or unpleasant. I've talked about number 3 before, experiencing awe. These are the moments when we experience something that is vastly larger than ourselves. Awe provokes feelings of astonishment and wonder while also promoting humility. 4, surround yourself with natural enrichment. When we are experiencing nature, we can engage all of our senses. Hearing the babbling brook and birdsong, smelling the earth and vegetation, feeling the hot sun or cool breeze or rain kissing your skin, the taste of honeysuckle nectar or a fresh fruit, looking around and seeing the bright colors, different textures, and a quick movement of squirrel and deer hiding behind trees. 5, nourish your creativity by moving in and out of being a maker and a beholder. Creativity thrives when we stretch ourselves outside the confines of what we already believe and know. Don't stay attached to ideas so that you can be open to innovation and fresh perspectives. 6, and finally, shape your own narrative. We will often engage in storytelling of one kind or another, fact or fiction. I regularly have a narrative going on in my head, and I'm very convincing. These narratives have a significant impact on my own perceptions of myself, situations, and other people. Humans can get bogged down with the ideas that they have established for themselves, that these are unchanging truths. By changing our stories, we can fundamentally change who we are, seeking the best in people rather than their flaws, for instance. The truth of the matter is that there is no permanent and independent self. So, if, let's say, basket weaving is the only type of art you ever participate in, and you're not going to the theater, and you're not enjoying a concert, then you're limiting yourself physiologically. You've got to practice MMA, mixed media arts. See what I did there? You got to switch it up and cross-training aesthetics. Offer yourself a diverse range of experiences because you're constantly making new synapse connections with neuroplasticity. Since many of us are outcome-driven, let's develop a narrative that like exercise and meditation, beholding and making art every day is going to create these really strong neural pathways that make us healthier. Literally, tell yourself, hey, 20 minutes a day, I'm going to take a lump of clay and play with it because it's good for me. You've got to play with creativity and do it with no expectations. Do you know what the opposite of play is? It's not work, it's depression. Your brain needs to do things without preconceptions, no expectations, and, like our UFC Bicycle Club name says, no wrong turns. Slap some paint around and tell yourself, I don't know what this is going to look like, and I don't care what it's going to look like. You've got to dig yourself out of the pattern we've built in this society of checking boxes and lists. Many of you know I practice meditation. You can find me practicing sitting meditation in Buddhist studies on Saturdays. A few of you have joined me on walking meditations. But honestly, one of my favorite meditations is art. For quite a while, the first 20 minutes of my day included my own personal tea ritual and Zentangling. Unfortunately, I did get out of that habit during our recent move. Losing my pens had a lot to do with that, but I've purchased new pens, so it's time to start again. These are a few of them that I've created, and I can't say if they're bad or good, but they were all meaningful meditations for me and not really meant for anybody else. Aren't you lucky? When you allow yourself to exist in a flow state, distracted from your rumination of thought, you become more creative, relaxed, and innovative. There are some studies that show when you participate in art experiences, the return on investment is significant. Having at least one experience per month can extend your life by 10 years. Perhaps you've already been doing these things, and that's awesome. But let's make sure we're turning our minds to intentionality. Rather than gardening or taking walks in a transactional way, these are transformative opportunities to build those strong connections. We can use the power of mindfulness that we all are cultivating to tune in and sense the sensations around us. It's like a sense of radical presence. Just noticing the sights and sounds and smells around you will be fantastic for you and an amazing dose of art or aesthetics. In 2019, at the International Design Fair, Google Hardware Design created an exhibit so the public could experience the concept of neuroaesthetics. In collaboration with Johns Hopkins and architect Suchi Reddy, they called it a space for being. This immersive installation illustrated how the participants' bodies respond to different sensory environments, a truly groundbreaking experiment. They were the first to attempt such a large-scale analysis of biomarkers. There were 3 distinct rooms designed using neuroarts principles that affected the choice of colors, textures, materials, shapes, music, scent, and lighting. In order to measure those biomarkers, each guest was asked to wear a wristband that measured basic biological activity, like variable heart rate, temperature, and respiration. Then they were invited to touch, smell, listen, and explore for 5 minutes in 3 different rooms with no talking, no devices, and no photos. As they completed their experience, each person was given the results of the data collected, which revealed to them the space in which their body felt the most at ease or relaxed. For over 56% of the people, the room they liked the best was not the one in which their body felt the most ease. Most people were surprised by the disconnect between their biology and the room they believed they felt the most calm. This experiment showed that what we think is not necessarily what we feel, and our body is feeling all of the time through our senses. We have agency over what we surround ourselves with and how we tune into it, and the benefit this could have by being aware. All right, so now on to the scientific data. We know that arts and aesthetic experiences alter complex psychological networks of interconnected systems. Might have been physiological. Yeah, it was. Physiological networks of interconnected systems. Arts affect our immune and endocrine system, circulatory systems, respiratory systems, as well as higher brain systems like cognition, reward, and motor systems. Today, the arts are being used in at least 6 ways to heal the body: prevention, everyday health symptoms, treatment of illnesses, developmental concerns and accidents, psychological support, tools for chronic issues, and to provide comfort and meaning at the end of life. Medication can affect up to about 2 internal mechanisms in order to treat and manage symptoms and illness. The arts are showing effects on complex mechanisms, but I'd like to affirm that nobody's suggesting that you stop taking your prescribed medication. These are theories meant to supplement and support medical treatments. I found it interesting that different art forms are showing evidence to treat different ailments. Movement and dance reduce the symptoms of Parkinson's disease. Virtual reality allows people with physical disabilities to become more mobile. Watching a theatrical performance lessens the toll of chronic illness or reduces the anxiety of palliative care. Drawing bolsters social and emotional well-being in a child. Visual arts are an effective treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder and traumatic brain injury. Community arts activities can reduce isolation and increase well-being. Creating arts helps people with autism and intellectual disabilities build social and occupational skills. The arts can relieve burnout in healthcare and frontline workers. Play acting provides a pathway for clinicians to recognize their unintentional racial biases and change their practices. Building design improves the mental health of those working and living inside. Music has proven to help people recover from depression and improves memory in those with Alzheimer's disease. At MIT, they're using 40 hertz light and sound therapy. The sequences of light and sound literally activate something that cleanses the brain of its plaque and helps reduce the decline of cognitive function, particularly in people with dementia and Alzheimer's. If you want to give it a try, there's actually an app for that. It's called All's Life. All you'll need is an iPad that's 2017 or newer and a Bluetooth speaker with a good bass tone. I can breathe now. I contacted Bill back in July and told him I wanted to do the talk on this subject on this specific day. As soon as I saw Connie's call out for us to walk with her and Ron in this coming Friday for the 2024 Walk to End Alzheimer's. At the time, I didn't realize how busy I was going to be in the weeks leading up to this, and I feel like I could have done better explaining this awesome subject. So I want to encourage everybody to do their own research. You can borrow the book. I'll return it tomorrow without all my little notes. And I also want to ask you to plan to walk with us and support our wonderful president with her very personal passion to end Alzheimer's. There it is. And I thank you for listening to me.
Thank you. Okay, you're going to be quoted all something. But we've talked about public speaking and how hard that is. It took me a long time to get over my fears of public speaking. Sometimes they still come back. But man, when you step up to do a talk, where does that go? It's like everything you say is so important, and I'm glued to it. I really want to thank you for that. And I want to point out, too, the art around us here. The thought and design that goes into our building and everything around us, the Bean Butterfly Garden, everything is done so carefully and thoughtfully. The pavilion and all the plantings there, the paths that lead up to the meditation bench. Everybody that works as volunteers here has this message in mind.
Right.
And so if you walk into the meeting house larger bathroom, you're going to see watercolor paintings that change out periodically because it is the LOO Louvre out there. And so little things like that are so unexpected and so amazing make us so unique in any community, so especially ours. And during this time, we need it so much. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
None of the mics are working, so I can't run around.
Okay, holler, Brenda.
I'll try. I'm really interested in the drawings that you do, meditation, and how you approach that. You set a time limit or a size of the piece of paper you're working on, or the parameters you set for yourself?
Right, well, usually my piece of paper is about this big. So it's not, you don't want to have too much open space because then it can become overwhelming, at least for me. And I'll just start sort of swirling and then filling it in. And, you know, sometimes I'll start with a grid. It depends on how I'm feeling that day. And there is a book, I think, in the library, too, because I love the library, on Zen tangling that gives some basic designs that people use, you know, but it's also up to you. And as far as time limit, it's basically how long it takes me to drink my tea. Sometimes longer, sometimes less.
Did you say Zen tangling?
Zen tangling, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point out that it's not unique to humans, the art. I was thinking of the pufferfish and the intricate designs that they create, if anyone's ever seen that, and the birds. And we know the purpose is to attract mates, but it just made me wonder, does the bird imagine its nest before it sets out to get the materials? It's just something that you may never know. It's just
Fascinating.
interesting.
How? Holler it out.
You know, I've studied several languages intensely, and I didn't do it very well. But when you study Chinese, writing a single character 20 times is like you're doodling. You almost get lost. I mean, if you have a vocabulary of like 40 words to learn for a day, and you're writing them 20 times, that's 800 characters that you're visibly in a little box, going along doing the strokes. And the strokes is not random. They're done in a certain manner. When you write a character, it is very precise how you do it. And you lose yourself. So thank you very much. This is really helpful.
Thank you.
I just want to talk a little bit about the music therapy for dementia and Alzheimer's. In my work with my team member, Frodo, the therapy dog, we have spent a lot of time going to memory care and Alzheimer's units, and one of the most effective things I've ever seen beyond my dog visiting is the music therapy, because you'll see everyone just sitting around in a slump. And then you start playing music from their childhood, and everybody comes alive and starts singing and moving. It's just a remarkable effect. But what's even more effective is this music therapy has been shown to last after the actual event and improve the cognition ability of the dementia and Alzheimer's patients. So it's just a remarkable carry.
Yeah, Jackie?
I just want to say, I've all my life been saying, I can't do art. So thank you.
You can do it. Yeah.
I think this calls to mind the feeling that one gets when one goes to a concert or a music festival and you walk in as a bunch of individuals. And a lot of the cultural music festivals especially, where you might feel, well, this is interesting, but I don't know what I have in common with, you know, all of these other groups of people. And after you've been there a while, there seems to be a cloud of fellowship embracing everyone. And suddenly, the strangeness of that other culture, which you might not have been that familiar with to begin with, does seem much less, and there is much more in common in the humanity that you share with all of these other people. And I think your talk was really, really excellent in that way.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I do hope that this talk is one that goes on our website. So those of our membership who are not here today can participate in it, because I think it's very valuable.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. I think that's me.